Hey, welcome back to Self-Reliance. Today, I want to show you guys some failed cheese here. So, about a month ago, I did a video about doing some waxing of cheese. The first video that we did, it worked out really well. The second time, the cheese was much bigger and we didn't have as much wax as we needed to cover the surface of this. So we ended up spooning wax over top of this here. And that did not work well. You can see here this blackness inside of here. So I believe that's some mold in there. It's going all the way around the edges of the top here. Really not much going on here on the bottom or on the bottom edges, which I find kind of interesting. But I think it was one of a couple things. I did reuse some wax from the last attempt at doing this wax cheese. So it could be that. It could be that I used cheesecloth for the first time. I did not sterilize this cheesecloth in any way. I hoped that the wax would be hot enough to do that, but I'm thinking that that is probably the factor that caused it. Or it's probably the fact that we spooned the wax over top of here and it didn't seal it up properly. So let's cut some of this open here and see what we got going on. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way I can save any of this cloth here. So I'm just going to cut right on through it. Gotta be careful not to slice my own hand. Yep, definitely some mold going on. Pretty obvious from that distinct black color, and you can see how like kind of greenish black this mold is here. I can feel a moisture in here. It doesn't really show up on camera, but I can feel that this is kind of slimy. That's probably just oil coming out of the cheese though. Let me cut the edges of this here real quick. Let's see. Yeah, on the bottom here, I can still feel that that's slimy underneath there. So that's just oil coming out of the cheese. It looks like the cloth itself was very well covered in this wax. I think what I might try this next time is to heat the cloth up in the oven or something. You know, not hot enough to have it combust, obviously, but hot enough that it'll sterilize it. I wouldn't want to dip it in hot water or anything like that, because I'm afraid that the wax will not adhere to the cheesecloth very well. And I want to make sure that those two are adhering well. And I mean, you can see how tough this is compared to the last one. The last one, you know, if I shoved on it, I could really force that wax around. But this is like nice and tough on here. Not every single one of them failed. I've got one of them, one of the four that I did that looks just fine. Actually, this smells really good. Yeah, it smells really good though. I can smell the mold as well. So it's got, let's see if I can describe it. It's got kind of a, I wouldn't say quite a sour smell to it. I can smell the cheese and the cheese smell, and that actually smells really good. But it's got this little bit on the back of that smell there that does not smell appetizing at all. Now, you know what? One thing, let's peel up this top of this here. I want to kind of see how well the coverage of the wax was. I'm just going to kind of cut the top right off here. Let's take a look at that. You can see this kind of air bubble right here, but there is wax everywhere I can see. So it did cover the whole thing. And, oh, actually you can kind of see this semicircle here. And this spot looks a little bit drier. Yeah, I can feel that this is hard here. So this got exposed to air or something somehow. It could be that this goes up completely through here and some of the moisture was able to be sucked out, and so this is hard. Like I can tap on that. Hopefully you guys can hear that on camera. This definitely got exposed to some air. Well, you know what? Let's cut open the next one here. See if we see the same thing. I'm just going to go right around the rim to the top of this here. Okay. Yeah. This is hard. Again, in the middle here. You can see I've got kind of that same pattern up here. I would expect that there would be some mold in the middle here, but it could be that it was too dry for the mold to form, so the mold got in and then went to the sides. I'm not sure. You can see that there's a different colored mold over here. It's more yellow instead of green. That's really gross. Hopefully I'm not making anybody too sick, but this is important for, I think, for me to study and learn about to make sure I don't make this kind of mistake again. especially if I'm going to be really relying on the food storage. You know, if I do manage to get a hold of some fresh cheese and try to wax it or something like that, I want to make sure that that expense doesn't go to waste. Having some nutrients and stuff from cattle and things like that, I think it'd be rare to get a hold of in an emergency situation, and you would want to really preserve that. All right, guys, hopefully you guys have learned a little bit from this. I've learned to sterilize my cloth and make sure it's all gets nice and submerged as well. As I said before, I did reuse some wax. I don't think that had anything to do with it. That wax got so hot, I don't think anything could have lived through that. It was very hot wax, but we'll see. All right, guys, thanks for watching.